The moment you realized you were becoming yourself. A calming, inspirational wellness story about self-belief, inner growth, and quiet transformation. Most people don't notice the moment they begin to change. It doesn't arrive with certainty. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel like a breakthrough. It feels like a pause, a breath taken when you could have kept pushing, a thought questioned instead of believed, a quiet decision to stay when you once would have walked away. If this feels familiar, stay with me. There was nothing obviously wrong with your life. That was the strange part. From the outside, things looked fine. You showed up, you did what was expected, you kept moving forward in the way people admired and rarely questioned. But inside, something felt unfinished. You carried a quiet sense that you were living near yourself, not fully as yourself, like you were standing just outside the door of your own life, listening to it happen without stepping all the way in. You couldn't explain it easily, and because you couldn't explain it, you doubted it. Maybe this is just how adulthood feels. Maybe this is as good as it gets. Maybe wanting more means being ungrateful. So you stayed quiet. The wait wasn't dramatic. It wasn't grief or crisis or loss, not in the obvious sense. It was subtle. It lived in the way you rushed through moments meant to be enjoyed, in how you second-guessed yourself even when no one else was questioning you, in the habit of shrinking your wants before they had the chance to disappoint you. You told yourself you were being realistic, responsible, mature, but realism, when taken too far, becomes resignation, and resignation slowly teaches you to stop listening to your own inner voice. Still, something inside you resisted disappearing. It whispered in moments of quiet, late at night, early in the morning, or during those in-between hours when the world softened enough for honesty to slip through. This isn't the end of the story. Change didn't come as a leap. It came as a question. What if you didn't need to become someone new, only return to who you already were? That thought lingered longer than the others. It didn't demand action. It invited curiosity. So you started small. You said no once when you usually said yes. You took a walk without a destination. You allowed yourself to rest without explaining why. And something surprising happened. Nothing fell apart. The world didn't punish you for choosing yourself. People didn't leave. Life didn't collapse. Instead, you felt lighter, not because everything was fixed, but because something was finally aligned. Keep listening if this helps. Trust isn't rebuilt all at once. It's rebuilt in moments so small they almost go unnoticed. You trusted yourself to feel what you felt, without judgment. You trusted yourself to slow down, without guilt. You trusted yourself to change your mind, without apology. And slowly, the voice inside you softened. It stopped criticizing every step. It stopped demanding certainty before movement. It started sounding like encouragement. Not loud encouragement, not dramatic confidence, just steady reassurance. You're allowed to try. You're allowed to grow at your own pace. You're allowed to want more. The most difficult part wasn't changing your habits. It was changing how you saw yourself. For a long time, you had defined strength as endurance, surviving without complaint, pushing through without pause, carrying everything alone. But real strength asked something different. It asked you to acknowledge your limits, to honor your needs, to stop performing resilience and start practicing honesty. Seeing by others came later. First, you had to see yourself clearly, without minimization, without dismissal, without comparison. And when you did, you realized something important. You had never been behind. You had been becoming. Alignment doesn't feel like excitement at first. It feels like peace, a calm certainty that you are no longer betraying yourself to maintain comfort, that your choices, while imperfect, are finally yours. You still struggled, you still doubted, you still had days where old patterns resurfaced, but now you noticed, and noticing is powerful. Because once you notice, you can choose differently, gently, compassionately, without shame. That's how real change lasts. For the first time in a long while, inspiration wasn't something you searched for externally. It came from recognizing your own resilience, from honoring how far you'd already come, from realizing that becoming yourself wasn't a destination, it was a relationship, one you could return to again and again. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss future stories designed to support your journey. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need proof to trust yourself. You don't need to rush to arrive. You are already in motion. And the most exciting part? You are becoming someone you don't have to escape from. Thank you for spending this time here. At the Webbed Quill, we believe inspiration doesn't come from becoming more, but from becoming more yourself.